Hey everybody, it is me, Mike Vanderpool. I am here with Project Allura and also Brandon Allen from Allen's American Martial Arts. Got a great story about his business that he runs in Lucas County. I'm actually a customer of yours. You convinced me through social media to come and get beat up on the regular.
That's a good way to put it.
And it's awesome, you know. So, I'll talk about my experience a little bit, but I'd like to hear just a little bit about your background, where you came from. We don't have to have the long story, just kind of like how you got to where you are right now.
Sure, yep. 7, started martial arts, wanted to be a Ninja Turtle, all that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
And we stuck with it. My family ended up getting into it as well. We were blessed with the opportunity to travel around the country, around the world, and compete and work with militaries and corrections officers and all kinds of stuff. And then just over the years, by the time I was like 13, I got my first paycheck for teaching. And it just developed into the fact that we wanted a school and we were going to have one, right? So we started it as a family. And, we ran one prior from 01 to 04. 04, we owned it. And we've been going ever since. So awesome. That leads us up to today.
So probably the most important question of the day, which was your favorite Ninja Turtle?
That would definitely have to be Leo. So
yeah, Leo, Donatello, our camera guy likes Leo.
Leo and then Donatello, Mikey, probably Raph. So
have you seen all the movies then?
Not the most recent ones.
Right.
I haven't really stayed. I've seen pieces of them, but actually I have a lot of friends that I used to compete with internationally. Mm-hmm. All of those movies, they're all the stunt choreographers and the stunt doubles and fight choreographers for all that stuff.
Nice.
Right? So it's kind of cool. You kind of get the backside story of things.
Very nice.
And, all that stuff. All the Marvel, Star Wars, all that stuff is done. So.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah.
So Star Wars or Star Trek, which if you had to choose?
If I had to choose, it'd be Star Wars.
Okay, fair enough. I think my closest to any of that was I was an extra in a movie that Ray Park, the guy that played Darth Maul, because he was competitive martial arts, right? I think
he was slightly, but the guy who trained him, Ryan Pinkston, we competed together. So awesome. Ryan Pinkston was the best bow staff guy at that time, with extreme tricks and everything. And so they pulled him, George Lucas went out and found him, hey, you're competing, this is awesome, I want all this stuff. Darth Maul has to do this.
Nice.
And so it's pretty crazy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you competed all over the world. Do you have any cool stories about traveling, doing stuff?
Yeah, probably a lot of them I don't want on camera, but
understandable. You were young. That's fine.
Right. No, I mean we just had a lot of fun. And the thing is too, people hear about you competing and doing this stuff. I didn't win all the time. I lost probably 80% of the time. It wasn't in the top 4 and everything else, but it just kept trying. Mm-hmm. And then eventually, you hit the stride where it's okay, you're finally getting it, and you've established yourself, and you're going. And so, I just had a great time, meeting people. I know people from all around the world. First time I went overseas, I competed against 8 different countries and different things. So, it's just cool to meet people and get to know them and travel and see the world where kicking and punching, right?
Right. Nice.
I've had the opportunity to go and do a lot of really cool things just from kicking and punching.
Even if you were the one getting kicked and punched.
Oh, absolutely. There's sacrifice to pay, right?
So wait, you mean you get hit in karate?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think what was it we talked about in class once? If it doesn't hurt, you're not doing it right. Something to that effect.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But that's learning just in general, right? My background as an instructional designer, a lot of the stuff that you talk about in class resonates, right? If it's worth doing, it's not going to be easy.
Correct. Yeah. There's a pain curve in there for sure. If you want to grow or evolve in anything, any type of betterment, there's some type of sacrifice you have to give up. Period. So. I don't care what you're doing. If we're learning videography, if we're
learning how to do social media.
The pain is the time and my failure of going through it. To start out, and my money to an extent. So
yeah, I try to play some poker, not as a professional or anything, but so I read some poker books and follow some poker people, right? And they all pay for their lessons.
Yeah.
One way or another.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're literally paying, right? Nobody hops out and wins every tournament.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Awesome. So that's a fairly decent segue though into some of the social media stuff that you're doing, because it's daunting when you start to look at social media, when you start to look at people saying negative things about what you're doing, because there's always going to be naysayers. I know that from promoting my documentary film.
It's tough.
Yeah, and if you expect to go out there and make everybody happy and say things that resonate with everybody, you might as well just not even try to do anything, right? And then on the surface, just engaging and acting in the social media community is one way to behave. Then there is also, when it comes to buying ads and doing things like that, you get under the hood of Facebook and it is...
blows your mind. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
It's intense.
So just in general, maybe some of the stuff that you tried initially, and some of the lessons that you've learned, I think would be awesome and definitely help people out there. You don't have to give away any trade secrets.
No,
we'll make them pay for those. But just get them in the door, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I mean, the first thing is you got to have presence. Period. If you have to look at your TV was around and everything, and it's still around, but it's totally different than it was when marketing really started to hit with commercials and everything like that, right? So why does Chevy and GM and all these companies still spend hundreds of millions of dollars marketing for ad spots? You would think they got it, but they don't. So they still have to be relevant. And if you look at where people's eyes are, for example, when I look out teaching a martial arts class and I'm running a youth class and I look out at my adults sitting, the parents watching class, they're not watching class. Where are they? They're on their phone, right? And so people are in their phones.
I got a oil change and brakes done yesterday. Sitting there, I'm reading a book. I look up, and people older than me, because it's not just the millennials, are all staring at their phones.
And that's one of the biggest misconceptions. When I worked in the financial advisement industry, right, and worked with insurance companies, financial advisors and stuff, I would hear all this stuff older people don't use the phones, and those are the people that have the money, and et cetera, et cetera. It's an absolute total lie, right? And all it was is technology had to become easier to use, and it has, doing a touchscreen. And so, anybody that you want to reach or communicate anything to is in the phone, right? So if you don't have any presence on their phone, you are irrelevant. I don't care if you have a brick and mortar. Sitting, you have the biggest billboard and all this other stuff. If you don't have that, you don't exist. And you don't have to like it, but it's the reality of life.
I'm a business owner. I may not use social media personally, but my customers do, so I have to have a presence there. I think that's one of the things, from an entrepreneurial mindset, right? Entrepreneurs think differently than the typical consumer.
Yep.
And putting yourself in that position of the user is difficult for some people sometimes. So I actually became a member of the dojo from seeing a video that you posted.
Correct.
I had always wanted...
Everybody's in their phones.
Yes, we just had a big, huge conversation about everybody being in their phones. Can you power that off? Yes, so I'm in my phone right now, ignoring this call. I'm sure it's super important.
And waiting for the Facebook notification to come up too, right, guys?
Exactly. And I think this is one of the things with advertising, right? It always wanted to do martial arts, right? Jean-Claude Van Damme, kickboxer, growing up, all this stuff, but just never had the opportunity, right? So I think with social media advertising, sometimes you never know when you're going to actually make that connection with somebody, right? This is something I've been thinking about for 35 years doing. Right. And finally, because I saw the video that you posted on Facebook, I came in, and now I'm getting my butt kicked, when I do make it to class, right? Busy guy, but when I can. So talk a little bit about the current social media strategy that you're using.
Yeah, absolutely. So number one is just engaging every day, right? And putting content out there. It doesn't have to be, and it's not like sales and products and stuff like that. It's just sharing about what you're doing, right? And who you're doing it with. Like last night, we had beach day at the dojo, and so we took pictures. Everybody's in their beach stuff and all that stuff, and so we're posting on Instagram and Facebook, and really it's doing the same, right? And getting that out there, because people to that point of the 35 years, right? I just had someone start in the dojo on Monday, right? Mm-hmm. And she told me, and I knew this because I went back and looked at when she liked our page. She told me, she said, I've been watching you for a year and a half. Right? And so people buying decisions are more educated now, because people want to feel like they can know what the experience is going to be before they go and do it. And nobody wants to be duped, right? Mm-hmm. And so people are looking you up, and they're looking at your social, network and what you have going on in your footprint, and to see if they connect, right? And if they connect, then they're going to come in. Okay. And so number one is just making sure that you're posting, because I asked her, I was like, what made you come in? She's like, I just like the vibe, mm-hmm. I like what's going on, and I can see it. And so having pictures and having video is like huge when you're posting content and putting things up to share with people what's going on. Right. So then on the flip side of that, to directly engage in people, then I use ads. Right. I try to use a lot of picture and video ads. And there's all types of objectives, and like you said, it gets pretty intense once you lift the hood up.
Yeah, like the way you can target people and zip codes and interests. I mean, it's
amazing.
Yeah.
If you have an exact client that you want, like you can literally find that person based on interest and what people like and different things. And don't be scared on the backside. Like, I don't really think it's as much of a privacy issue as people make of it, because it's not like I get your name and
social security number, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah. Right. Like I just know that the people it's going to be delivered to fit this criteria, mm-hmm. right? But I don't actually get any of your information until you engage with me and make that happen. And I think that's important too for people to understand. I think we're kind of scared off by some of that stuff. But yeah, so we do the ads. And it generates the first one we ran successfully.
Learning curve, right?
Yeah. So I spent probably like a good 12 months doing them and getting little success here and there, boosting posts. Facebook will offer you like, hey, boost this post and do this. That's not really what you want to do. It's a good start to get into things, but you're not going to find a ton of success out of it. Mm-hmm. But then eventually, once you start learning and growing, we finally ran one. We brought in 40 new people in 20 days, like less.
Well, you had
than
to
20
get a
days.
bigger space, right? Bigger dojo.
So we literally filled our dojo where we were, and immediately at that time, I was like, I can't run any more ads because I have nowhere to put people. Literally, you were in there for the tail end of it. We were like shoulder to shoulder walking through some of our walking space,
which isn't great when you're trying to punch and kick, right?
Right, yeah, and then I'm telling people like, oh yeah, we got this great thing going, and everybody's uncomfortable, right? So it's like, so literally we a lot of the trainings and the different courses I've taken, they always say it's like one ad away from changing your business, right? And I don't care what company you speak with, if they're doing 500,000 plus, okay, they're not just doing referral business. There is some type of marketing and sales strategy in place that it has to be together. Mm-hmm. And up until 14 years of doing business, up until that point, we were just referral and like walk-in. We hit that one ad and it totally changed our business, right? And so now like we're comfortably on a track to know exactly the dollar amount that we need to acquire and get people in. So.
But again, that one ad, that overnight success was 12 months of playing, learning, figuring out ads, built on 14 years of actually an established business, started clientele.
Sure, absolutely. But it came with repetition, right? So no different. So no different than the pain that we were talking about earlier for the sacrifice, right? If I got to go through sacrifice to get this result or grow or better myself, right? So no different. I've gotten really good at martial arts because I've done millions of repetitions. I'm really good at maybe teaching martial arts because I've taught thousands of classes, right? But getting into ads, running ads, so you run your first one, it's going to suck.
First time I played poker, I lost, got a couple hands because everybody thought I, was better than I actually was. But
there you go. But eventually you run enough of them and you start figuring out. Mm-hmm. And if you honestly want to add this into your business, you're going to figure it out, right? And it's crazy cheap if you actually think about the comparisons of other forms of marketing and doing stuff.
Yeah, I with the documentary that I produced, I ran some Facebook ads, and $20 ad spend would turn out to about 5 sales, which was approximately $80 in gross revenue.
There you go. Right, so you 4x your spend. Like,
yeah.
I used to run mailers and do marketing for financial advisors and stuff, and like business coaching. We drop 10 grand on something, and sometimes you get nothing, and you have no clue. And that's the other thing that I really value about being able to market in the social media environment is I control, what happens. If it sucks, I turn it off.
And you can start an ad and pause it.
Yep.
Right. You can set a monthly ad buy. You can give other people access to help you with the ads without giving full control of all your everything. So I think Facebook's really got it dialed in. It's just one of those things like if your business is making pizzas all day, every day, learning this stuff is going to take time. So that's why I'm hoping that we can come in, through some stuff like this with these conversations with you, some of the stuff this project's going to offer to be able to help people with that type of stuff.
Yep.
Because if I make pizzas all day, the last thing I want to do might be go buy ads on Facebook.
No, absolutely. But the thing is if you're really good at that, excuse me, you already know that your business works. And so the more people you put in front of that, the better everything gets.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing that we realized. We're like, look, our product's really good. Our service is really good. We deliver. We've been doing this for a really long time. You don't stay in business for 14 years not knowing what's going on. Right.
Right.
And we may make our mistakes and everything else, but we knew it was great, but we didn't have enough people in front of it, right? And so the second that changed, I was like, man, 40 people, in those 20 days, and like we've been able to repeat this like on a monthly basis. So it wasn't just one-time success, right? And there's tweaks, and you got to make changes, and move some levers and stuff to make sure that it stays fresh, and people still want to come after the offer. But at the end of the day, once you start understanding what those are, you do it for a solid year, and your business is totally different.
Yeah, I think that's the other big thing that people have to realize too. It's not going to be flipping a switch, right? Like all of a sudden I'm going to start a Facebook page and buy an ad and it's going to change. It did kind of overnight, but that was also all that other stuff that was built up in there. So it's something like consistency, I think is huge.
Yep.
And there's a fine line between consistency and being a bug as well, right? I think, some of the biggest things we've learned is you don't treat Facebook like traditional advertising, right? If you would just throw up $40 special, come kick me or whatever, right? That's not going to get anybody. But you as the owner of the business, having your face out there in a video, or if maybe you're not comfortable, it would have been somebody else from the dojo's scene, making that connection with somebody's face. We're lucky enough with what we do, us with video production, some of that stuff, you with, kicking and punching people. People kind of like to see that, and it's a very visual medium, so it lends itself well. But I think that there's other things, just engaging and being active with people versus trying to sell them something is my one takeaway from all of this.
Well, it's education, like entertainment and education.
Edutainment, right?
Yeah. So, you have to be entertained. You have to be thumb stopping. That's the thing, right? So you're scrolling, and it's funny that we have all these new terms of actions that you're doing on your phone, right? But you have to be thumb stopping. So if you're going to say, oh, you get $40 off, and it all depends too, like your target market does it resonate with people that you're actually targeting? Is it something they're going to want? Do they even know about what it is? There's a whole bunch of things. But when you're doing it, like I want to be entertained by it. So from a business standpoint, I get like hooked all the time when people tell me, hey, this business, just closed 500 billion or whatever. And I'm way far away from that. I don't even think I ever want to be that big, but I want to okay, how? What's going on? Right? What can I steal from it and put in my business? And so you always want to be doing something that's going to have some entertainment or like create big question in their head and then get into everything else. Right. So, there's even a lot with video views, getting views, and then retargeting the people who actually watch your video, which
you have to show me that because we just did a video yesterday that's got like 2,000 views. we've got another video that's going to follow up right there. I want to know how to actually specifically target the people that have already watched that. So
no,
before you leave today.
No, absolutely, and that's a really, really good way. So if your lead expense is really high, it's a good way to bring your lead expense down, because you can get a video view from anywhere from 2 to 15 cents. You're good. If it's anything above that, you probably need a better video.
right.
Or you need a better target market.
You know anybody that does video?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, awesome.
So, but you need either your target market's off or your video, your message is off, right? And so, if you do the video and you're getting like 10-cent views, okay, then you have this big pool of people who watched like half the video. You already know that if they're going to watch half of it, they're kind of engaged in what's going on. So those are the people that are more likely to probably get a coupon or buy a product or do something, come in and book an orientation or book a meeting or something like that, right? And so then I'm going to go back and I'm going to throw $20 at that specific group of people. And so now my lead expense, I can chop it like in half, and that just helps your margin, right? So now you're making back your ad spend when you have your initial sale, and et cetera, et cetera. So
awesome. So we're going to stop there before we give away too many secrets, right?
That's fine.
We were going to have you show me how to do a roll on the map, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I got a lot of people to talk to today. Last thing.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Brandon, I appreciate it for sure.
Pleasure.
For sure. Thank you for sharing, some stories. And again, I'll see you at the dojo. And
absolutely. If anybody else wants to come out.
Okay, so real quick, because I almost forgot. Alan's American Martial Arts.
Yep.
Give us a spiel.
Yeah, just we help people improve their lives through martial arts, right? Fitness, health, confidence, all those things, and that's it.
I think the message that you deliver to kids is awesome at the beginning. What do you have them repeat?
The student creed when they start their class.
Yep, 100%.
I'll develop myself in a positive manner, and I'll avoid anything that reduces my mental health or physical growth. There's a whole bunch more to it, but that's
a good mindset for doing anything,
said that
right?
Since I was 7 years old.
And look at you now.
Yeah, right. So it is what it is. But like the whole message, for kids, it's fun because they get to be a Power Ranger, or Ninja Turtle, or whatever, and that's why every kid starts, because it's fun. But from the parent side, builds character, right?
Right on.
And that's our goal, is to kind of feed them their vegetables with dessert, and get them doing all these things, and then we build their character. So, and then for adults, it comes down to improving your
I just want to be able to touch my toes.
Yeah, improving your health, reduce your stress, right? And then you learn how to defend yourself, so it's a win-win all the way around.
Awesome. Yep. And find you on the Facebook?
Oh, absolutely. Alan's American Martial Arts, you'll find it. Yep.
Awesome. Sweet. Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it.